gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Damn, that Obafemi guy's freaking nuts. Hello? Yeah, you're finally gonna tell me about my opponent, right? He backed out? You kidding? Who was it even? Oh, well, I'll be a son of a bitch. So now what? You want me to be the host? You get me out of this retirement to wrestle, and now you just want me to be a host? No, I'm not flying all the way to San Diego just to be a host, right? There's nothing you can say to change my mind. You're paying me how much?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to GRAPPLECON 2024. I'm your host, the man formerly known as R Money, Ryan Klimaszewski. And while I was scheduled to appear on this card, my opponent, who I would describe as a, quote, son of a bitch, decided that he could not be here tonight due to injury. However, I still want to make my presence known as the host, not for the money, but because I love professional wrestling. So I decided to give you all a quick rundown of the card, which I have fully memorized and not written down over here to my left. We have the mystery box. The seeding will be determined tonight, featuring competitors such as Cerebi, Johnny Gage, Nick Apollo, and Jack Harvey. A Georgia street fight between David Blake and Sorry, I can't read my... remember, I can't... T-Money? That sounds like gimmick infringement. A pitch black match. Vagabond. Brooks. A buried alive match between Dylan Mason and one half of the Moon and Swoon Connection, Tyrian Moon. Titan v Zelzabar. And of course, your main event of the evening. Fox Marsh and Crimson Wolf. And I, for one, cannot wait to get this show started. Because I am not in this for the money. I am in it for the professional wrestling. Speaking of which, I will be signing autographs, taking pictures after the show for only $100 an autograph and $200 a photo. See you all there.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the VTW Network. This is your San Diego GRAPPLECON 2024 live results recap. I, of course, am your caller for the night. My name is Arthur Price, and we heard just a moment ago from our esteemed host of ceremonies, the Ryan Klimaszewski, ran down the card for us, but I think with that, we should go ahead and just get this show underway. You know, live in the building, everything was off the rails. If you didn't have your tickets, well, you were missing out. But that's what I'm here for, to tell you what you missed that night. And what you missed that night started with the opening contest starting off hot and heavy. We had the Georgia Street fight in San Diego, featuring David Blake going one-on-one with T-Money. Two Georgia boys, first time ever these guys share a ring, and they did not disappoint. Let me tell you, the crowd was electric for this, expecting a brutal, hard-hitting encounter. Now, David Blake started this match strong, using those heavy punches, forearms, kicks to dominate the early moments. His aggressive style, reminiscent of a Stan Hansen, a Bruiser Brody. He kept T-Money on the defensive in the early goings of this contest. Landed several powerful strikes, and one thing that caught a lot of people off guard in the early moments, a move that David Blake has in his arsenal that is often saved for later points in the match. He popped it out right at the gate. He hit that alarm clock, that pop-up penalty kick, and it sent T-Money reeling. However, T-Money got the offense back quick enough, known for his brawling expertise, known for being a self-trained MMA star, fought back with his own unique arsenal, countering Blake's onslaught with a series of discus elbows, capping off that combination with a perfectly timed eat defeat, momentarily gaining control back of the match. And it was at that point David Blake rolled out of the ring before T-Money could even think to try to get a pin. But T-Money followed him right back out, with both of these guys using that street fight stipulation to their advantage. Steel chairs, kendo sticks, even a trash can was introduced. And this just turned into an absolutely chaotic brawl. We started this thing off strong. They fought all over the ringside area, fought into the crowd. There was a point where David Blake grabbed a fan's drink and splashed it into T-Money's face. There was a point where T-Money grabbed a bucket of popcorn from one of the fans and just dunked it over Blake's head. He had the popcorn bucket draped over his head and then sent him into a pit of fans. It was wild. It was crazy, but eventually got its way back into the ring, did the action, and T-Money goes under the ring before he gets back in the ring, and he pulls out this table. It's not any ordinary table, though. This table, it's painted red, and it's got that Georgia Bulldog logo painted right in the center of it. And this San Diego crowd, who doesn't know how these Georgia boys get down, well, they found out exactly what these Georgia boys were all about. And he pulls that Georgia table, goes to slide it into the ring, but as T-Money is getting back into the ring, he's intercepted by Blake, who drapes him up across the top rope and out of nowhere hits that Buchanorama. And it seemed to spell the end for T-Money, but somehow at 2.5, T-Money managed to pull that shoulder up the last possible second, and Blake, I saw a look of pure shock in his eyes. He did not see that coming. So Blake sees the table, and he starts setting it up. He's got it labeled into the corner. But right as he turns around, what he doesn't see is somehow T-Money has managed to pull himself back up, and he hits that signature bruh kick, echoing throughout the arena, nearly securing the pinfall. But just like T-Money kicked out of that Buchanorama moments earlier, David Blake returned the favor with a huge kick out of that kick. And then the climax of this match, these two, they have beaten each other brutal. It has been wild. It has been crazy. Blake sets up for another devastating move. He's got that table now set up. And he pulls T-Money, pulls him up onto the top. I had no idea what was going to happen here at this point, but now they are going at it up on the top rope, that Georgia table laid out right in the middle of the ring. But T-Money starts fighting back. They're duking it out up on the top. T-Money gets the advantage, and I was shocked when David Blake fell off the top rope He missed the table, but the back of his head hit the edge of that table, and it was clear that he was knocked loopy from that. T-Money jumps down off the top, picks him up for that return to sender through the table for the 1, 2, 3. Your winner by pinfall, the Postman, has delivered another one. Great match between these two guys. Nothing but love, nothing for respect. You both showed up and you showed out and you gave everyone a match to remember. And I couldn't thank you guys enough for what you did for this event. But now that we've gotten on from that, it's time to move on to our next contest. The first of 2 Mystery Box Challenge qualifier matches. There were originally 3 set up for this. We had Titan going one-on-one against the man known as Jimmy Schaefer. However, Schaefer had other priorities and was unable to appear for the event in the long haul. So Titan advances by way of forfeit. So that means Titan, when the Mystery Box match at a later date goes on, he is automatically guaranteed to have that number 3 entry spot. The number 4 spot has been left open, vacant. No idea who will take that when the match goes down. Time will have to tell. But that's Titan. What we have right now is Johnny Gage going one-on-one with Cerebi. Now, this was a match I was looking forward to. You got these 2 big hosses going on. We had a hoss fight on our hands with this one, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Cerebi, he took control early in this with that sheer strength, those powerful strikes. He threw Gage. Now, Gage is a big boy. Johnny Gage is a big boy. And Cerebi was chucking him around like he was a cruiserweight at some points. It was wild. I've never seen Johnny Gage get tossed around quite like that. And left Gage reeling at several points in the early moments, but Gage was able to come back. The Hangman fought back with his own brand of brutality. At one point, Cerebi was going for that hell bite cutter, but before he could execute it, Johnny Gage pushed him off into the ropes. Cerebi came back around and got caught with that snake bite, that Tongan death grip. And I'll be honest, I thought he was going to choke him out, but Cerebi, he fought back. He fought back. He was able to break the snake bite, but he was unable to capitalize. Johnny Gage backs right back up, comes in and hits him with that 12-gauge Superman punch. Sends Cerebi crashing right back down to the mat. Good for a 2 count, but Cerebi gets the shoulder up. These 2 went crazy in this one. There was points in the match where Cerebi comes back, showcasing his power. At one point, we saw him hit his ancient history, that mandible claw chokeslam that has put several people away in the past, but it was not enough to put away Johnny Gage in this one. Johnny Gage, he just had that resilience in him. He wanted this Mystery Box Challenge win. He wants that number 5 spot. He doesn't want to come in at number 2 and fight all the way through to the very end. No, he wants the softest spot that he can possibly get. He absorbed Cerebi's punishment and retaliated with his own in kind. As the match progressed, both competitors were exhausted but determined to get the win. Cerebi in the closing moments, he sets up that cataclysm, that big crucifix pile driver, looking to put the nail in Johnny Gage's coffin. However, it was not to be, because Johnny Gage was able to pull himself out of it and lock Cerebi into the devil tree, that tombstone stretch submission, stunning the audience with his strength and ability. Now, we said Johnny Gage is a big boy. Cerebi is a big boy as well. And he had the strength and brutality throughout this match. It wasn't very often that Gage was able to get him up and manhandle him in the same way. But the defiance, the resilience, the durability, he was able to hold Cerebi up there for quite some time and stretch him out in that devil tree. But he wouldn't let Cerebi submit. He dropped him, went through with the full tombstone pile driver, hoisted him right back up for the Hangman's Cross. getting the 1, 2, 3. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Gage secures his place in the number 5 position in the Mystery Box Challenge. Cerebi, on the other hand, has found himself in the number 2 spot. And he's got a big fight ahead of him. But great showing from these two guys. You two went out there and you showed them how it's done. And I cannot wait to see what the Mystery Box Challenge looks like. So I think I had a little bit of a Freudian slip earlier when I was talking about Titan's position. Since Titan won by forfeit, I believe I said number 3. He's actually number 4 because he gets to enter later. So we have Titan at number 4, a vacant number 3, Johnny Gage at number 5, and Cerebi at number 2. We still have Nick Apollo and Jack Harvey later to come to determine who enters at number 1 and who enters at number 6. But before that, we had our previously last-minute scheduled Buried Alive match between Dylan Mason and the Monarch of Mischief, the ostentatious enigma known as Tyrian Moon. Now, this match was one that was thrown completely into chaos from the jump. This wasn't supposed to be a match that happened. You know, our current host, Ryan Klimaszewski, was supposed to have a mystery opponent, but that opponent had to pull out. We'll get to that later. And Tyrian Moon was supposed to be the host. But it seems right as soon as Ryan K was left without an opponent, Dylan Mason showed up and called out Tyrian Moon, saying he was going to destroy him. Called him his creation. The match was made, but it didn't go the way anyone expected it to go. Because we heard Tyrian Moon's music play throughout the arena. Nobody comes out. That's when we get a camera backstage. Tyrian Moon is seen desperately fleeing away from Dylan Mason, who is in hot pursuit. I don't know what Dylan Mason's problem is with Tyrian Moon. I don't know why he's all of a sudden got this fixation on trying to take out Tyrian Moon. But Tyrian had this very elaborate and pristine attire that I'm sure would have looked great had he been able to use it properly. But it was tattered, shredded, torn to bits. And Tyrian was beaten black and blue. He was covered in scratches and bruises and cuts. He was bleeding from the arm at one point. It was insane. And Mason looked like a man possessed. The backstage area was turned into an absolute battleground. But Tyrian, he was finally able to slip out, get away. He threw some moon dust in Dylan Mason's face and escaped via his getaway car, leaving Dylan Mason incensed. He didn't get the pound of flesh he was looking for, and I don't know what Dylan Mason plans to do next here in VTW. I don't know what he's going to do about Tyrian Moon. There's really only one way to find out, and that is to stay tuned, because we will have an update at a later point discussing the future of this network. But we had a whole match that was supposed to happen that didn't take place. And it was at that point that our host of ceremonies decided to come out and address the fans. Now, I could tell you about this moment. I could explain it to you. But you know what? I think I'd rather show you what happened in this moment.
Welcome back to the GRAPPLECON live from San Diego, California, ladies and gentlemen. And what a night we've had thus far. We have seen monumental match after match, great moments. We've had the Mystery Box Challenge all come to a head over the course of this night, and we're not even close to done. Only question is, what's next? Oh, wait a second. it looks like we're going to get a live in-person appearance from our esteemed special host of ceremonies. Put your hands together for the Ryan Klemaszewski. This is a man who took over the hosting position of the event tonight after his originally scheduled match against a mystery opponent fell through due to that mystery opponent suddenly pulling out of the event. Now, nobody really knows who that opponent was. Nobody really knows why that opponent was not able to make it. There have been theories. Injury. There have been theories of conflicted booking. Travel plans gone wrong. Tyrian Moon was in charge of planning before he got suddenly pulled into a match with Dylan Mason tonight. So who knows if he even booked his flight, but hey, looks like our host is grabbing a microphone. Let's see what he's got to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to GRAPPLECON. I can tell you all are having a fantastic time. I can hear all of you from my dressing room. It has been a fantastic crowd, and I'm sure all of you are happy to see me. Granted, I'm sure a lot of you would have loved more to see me wrestle. However, my opponent, as been stated before, is a son of a bitch, and decided that he wasn't going to show up. I mean, I don't blame him. If I were him, I'd also be scared of facing the Ryan Klemaszewski. Hey, here's one. I actually heard that my opponent is set to become a free agent. And I don't mean that as in he can go wherever he wants. I mean that as in if he wants to get booked, his agent will have to convince him to do it for free. Get it? Because no one would pay for his stupid services.
Wait, what?
I'm great.
No. Wait, who is that? Who is it? Who is it? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Bobby Lashley! I'll be a son of a bitch! Bobby Lashley is here at GRAPPLECON, live in San Diego! Well, I didn't know we had the budget for Bobby Lashley of all people! What is the meaning of this? Wait a minute, hold on. Forgive me if I'm getting ahead of myself, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan Klemaszewski has a mystery opponent. Mystery opponent mysteriously just disappears. Now all of a sudden, we got Bobby Lashley here. And the crowd is losing their minds. Is this?
That'll be a son of a bitch.
Oh my God, despair! He just cut Ryan in half. Is this who Ryan was talking about? Is this the mystery opponent that Ryan was just talking mad shit about? Oh my God, he's got him in the hurt lock! He's got him in the hurt lock! He is wrenching, he's pulling, oh my God, he's tapping, Ryan's tapping out! He just made Ryan tap out in the middle of the ring here at San Diego GRAPPLECON, the event that he himself is hosting. The almighty, the dominator, Bobby Lashley is here at San Diego GRAPPLECON. And I have no idea what is next. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be a son of a bitch. Bobby Lashley is here.
I'll be a son of a bitch, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. You saw that right. Thank you for your contributions to GRAPPLECON, Ryan. I love you, dude. And, we'll have to get that medical bill sorted as well as other things. But moving on from that, we had our next match, the second Mystery Box Challenge match. And it was the Highway Star, Nick Apollo, going one-on-one with the madness of Jack Harvey. Now, Oh, excuse me, I had a little bit of a snack during that intermission. Ugh, bad manners on my part. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. But pull up my recap here for Nick Apollo and Jack Harvey. Now, this was for the spots of number 1 and number 6 for the Mystery Box Challenge to go down at a later date. Again, we've already had Cerebi at number 2, Vacant number 3, Titan at number 4, Johnny Gage at number 5. 2 spots left, and it will either be Nick Apollo or Jack Harvey at number 6, vice versa for number 1. High stakes for this one. And we kicked this one off with Jack Harvey, the veteran, known for that technical, strong style of his, coming out with that methodical approach, using those precise strikes and holds to wear down the young Nick Apollo. He had an early attempt at that Nightmare's touch, but Apollo was able to duck out of it and roll away to avoid it. A little bit of a caution between these two. Nick Apollo, he may still be young, he may still be fresh, but he's got that psychology down to a science. He knew what to watch out for. He's done his research on Jack Harvey. Nick Apollo gets back into the ring, and Nick Apollo is a very proficient striker, ladies and gentlemen, and he put that to use as soon as he re-entered the match, fighting back against Jack Harvey with those explosive strikes of his. He delivered a series of double Northern Lights suplexes, getting about a 1.5, almost a 2 count on the second one. Followed up by a running power slam. That shook the ring with such force. That got a 2 count. Crazy. Apollo kept that momentum up. He tried to go for an even flow DDT. Jack Harvey was able to slip out of it, though, and start fighting back, slamming back, whipping Apollo into the ropes, and popping him up with a power slam of his own, getting a 2 count as well. And they went back and forth for a little bit longer when Nick Apollo also popped up with a Dr. Bomb, leaving Harvey dazed and confused. That was good for another 2 count. Later on in the match, Harvey was able to bring back that technical prowess, countering whatever Apollo could throw with those strikes of his. He seemed to have a counter for everything Apollo did. Same thing with Apollo at Jack Harvey. These two scouted each other perfectly. But Apollo was able to catch Jack Harvey with a lethal spinning back fist, and then immediately backed it up and came in with that signature running enziguri that I've seen him put a few people away with that move. It wasn't enough to put Jack Harvey away, though. He got a solid 2 count off of that. And as the match progressed, both of these guys were pushed to their absolute limit. But Apollo, after that enziguri, after that 2.5, he was ready to go for the end. He hoists Jack Harvey up. He's going for that dropped dead, that Gorebuster GTS. He's got him hooked. He lifts him up, but Jack Harvey in midair twists and lands an emphatic Nightmare's touch on Jack Harvey, on Nick Apollo. Jeez, I'm all over the place. Jack Harvey hits a Nightmare's touch out of nowhere on Nick Apollo, and it's good for 2.9. It was so close, but Jack Harvey did not let up. Jack Harvey did not hesitate. He saw his opportunity. He seized the moment, picked Apollo back up, and drove him headfirst down into the mat with that drive you mad. That headlock driver with precision and power. The crowd erupted as the referee got down. He hit the 1, he hit the 2, and he hit the 3. Your winner and advancing to the number 6 position, Jack freaking Harvey. Now, of course, that means Nick Apollo has the unfortunate position of starting at number 1 alongside Cerebi, who comes in at number 2. Again, vacant number 3. We're going to have to figure that situation out. But we have Titan at number 4, Johnny Gage at number 5, and Jack Harvey at number 6. That mystery box challenge, when it happens, is going to blow the roof off of the place. I promise you that. But as everything was getting cleared up, getting ready for the next match, all of a sudden the lights started going down. They started dimming, and then black lights appeared throughout the arena. That could only mean one thing. It was time to go pitch black. And I don't have the flavor, but I do have my Mountain Dew on hand, ladies and gentlemen. So a swig for good luck. As Vagabond goes one-on-one with Brooks. Now, first thing I'm going to point out about this match is the entrances, the theatrics. Vagabond and Brooks are two flashy guys, and they know how to wow the crowd. Vagabond came out, and his gear, his attire, was glowing bright. He had these strands of blacklight paint running through his hair that were glowing in the dark. He had glow-in-the-dark contacts. This guy looked insane. But so did Brooks. Curt Brooks is a master of the mind games. He's a master when it comes to painting up and getting inside your head, and he did that. He had this elaborate face paint on, glowing up. He too had some glowing contacts. These two looked like something straight out of a sci-fi action sequence. Looked like we were about to see two aliens go to war with one another in this one. And I'll tell you what, these two guys did not disappoint. Now, Brooks, he started this one off strong, that technical offense of his. Brooks is a very hybrid athlete. He's got the technicality. He's got the high flying. He's got some power. He's got the strong style. That man is a total package. But so is Vagabond. But Brooks uses that technical advantage right out of the early going. And at one point, he capitalizes with a jumping DDT to Vagabond, leaving him reeling, reverberating through that arena, followed by an exploder suplex into the turnbuckle, which at that point, he hit him with so much force that the turnbuckle pad just fell right off, leaving that turnbuckle completely exposed. And there was this like weird confetti that came out of it. So just like this bright green, purple, blue, yellow confetti just goes blasting all over the place. It was a sight to behold. But Vagabond was able to come back soon after. Using that high-flying, that striking style of his, he quickly turned the tide. He countered a drive-by drop kick of Curt Brooks with a swift field of nightmares, that lethal combination, drawing gasps from the crowd. He climbs up the turnbuckle then, and he's going for a breathtaking shadow stomp that left Brooks struggling to recover. That was good for a solid 2 count, I'll tell you that. It was lethal. But Curt Brooks is a different kind of animal, I'll tell you that. Vagabond calls himself a different breed. Well, Curt Brooks, in his own right, is a completely different breed of competitor. I'll tell you that. Brooks showcases his resilience, his power, at one point executing a picture-perfect rendition of that no signal, that deep 6. It nearly got the win, I'll tell you. It was this close, ladies and gentlemen. But Vagabond was able to get out at the very last second, 2.99999. Wicked. Vagabond was able to come back, showing that agility on full display as he used this unique pitch black lighting to his advantage at various opportunities, delivering several high-flying maneuvers that keeps Brooks off his balance. These two just go back and forth, several minutes. And as the match reaches its climax, both of these guys visibly exhausted. Brooks, the pain is starting to wear off. He's looking like a man, looking like a demon who has been through hell and back and around for another time. Same does Vagabond. But Brooks is able to muster up some energy. He sees Vagabond reeling up against that corner that they destroyed the turnbuckle in earlier. Vagabond's trying to pull himself up, and Brooks is seeing the kill, and he's setting up for that career killer, that Claymore kick. He's on the opposite side of the ring, comes in with a full head of steam, leaves his foot flying in the air, ready to kick Vagabond's head off. But at the last second, Vagabond moves out of the way, and Brooks slams into that exposed turnbuckle and folds himself in half on the mat, landing right on the back of his head with a force like no other. And it was at that point, ladies and gentlemen, Vagabond saw the opportunity. He climbs up to the top rope. Curt Brooks has been laid face down. He's trying to push himself back up, but he does not have an answer as Vagabond flies off the top and sends Curt Brooks into the shadow realm. Stomp right to the back of the head and neck of Curt Brooks. And that's good for the 1, the 2, and the 3. Shocking win tonight for Vagabond, securing the win over Curt Brooks. This could have gone either way. And honestly, you guys made a moment tonight, or that night, that the VTW faithful are going to remember for a long time coming. I'll tell you that much. So we took a little bit of a break, as I'm about to do right now, to take another drink of my Mountain Dew before we move on from the pitch black match. Might as well just finish it off. As we moved in to our co-main event of the evening. Now, Titan obviously did not have Jimmy Schaefer, but he had someone else come knocking on his door. A ghost of his past by the name of Zelzabar. Zelzabar came in the 11th hour. The original main event was supposed to be Zelzabar versus the immortal Corey Heck. However, Corey Heck had other commitments, was not able to make it to the event. Zelzabar was not satisfied with that, and he found his victim in Titan. And let's get into this one, because this was a brutal, hard-hitting match. The history between these two guys, you could write a full-scale novel on the history between Zelzabar and Titan. Now, early on, Titan, with that hybrid style of his, started off the match with a mix of striking and grappling. Actually was able to catch Zelzabar off guard a couple of times. Zelzabar has been known to have Titan's number in several situations, but this time it felt like Titan was finally able to get a little bit of an upper hand on God himself with a rapid-fire sequence of moves, including that vintage kneecap brainbuster. He's going all out. He knows that Zelzabar is a glutton for punishment, and he will not go down easy. So you got to bring out the big moves. You got to bring out the heavy-hitting offense to keep that psychopath down. And it proved not to be enough, because Zelzabar was able to quickly turn the tide with that raw power, that unrelenting aggression, countering Titan's offense with a devastating black hole slam that shook the ring. I thought he was going to put him through the ring with that one. That was so much lethal force behind that slam. Got a solid 2.5 off of that one. And the elements that Zelzabar brings, that hardcore offense. Now, obviously, this was a standard rules match. Zelzabar almost got himself taken out of the match at several points, trying to see just what he could get away with, but he never crossed the line too far. He kept it just within the realm of what he could get away with in this contest to inflict as much damage as he could on Titan. But Titan just kept coming back, showcasing a resilience that not many thought he could pull out against someone who knows him so well. At one point, Titan's able to come back with that shotgun knee, and I honestly thought he was going to walk away with the win at that point. That knee was lethal, but Zelzabar was able to get the shoulder up and follow up with a C6 brainbuster that left Titan dazed, and at that point, the tide of the match shifted. Titan was knocked for a loop at that point. The match is reaching its climax. He's attempting. He's trying. He thought he had Zelzabar offhand for a second. Zelzabar got a little too cocky at one point. He started playing with his food just a little bit. And Titan tried to take advantage of that and go for that game over. Hooks him up in that Alabama slam position, and he's trying to flip him out into that sit-out powerbomb. But Zelzabar, able to use his sheer force, is able to slip out of it, hook Titan up, and slam him down right on his knee back first with that God's touch backbreaker, and Titan fell limp in the middle of the ring as Zelzabar hooked the leg for the emphatic 3 count. These two, I'm not sure where their story goes from here. I'm sure it's far from over. But Titan just keeps chipping away at the armor of Zelzabar. I can't wait to see what's next for either of these two. But next up, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the main event of the evening. Fox Marsh and Crimson Wolf. Another first time ever match between these two. Crimson Wolf, a veteran of this industry. He has seen peaks all around the world, an established name. But then we have Fox Marsh, who has come in within the last year and has established himself as a true lethal competitor, a world champion caliber opponent. That individual right there, Fox Marsh, is at his peak as a competitor. And I say that now, but I guarantee you at any point he will turn the tides and show that this is not the peak, just another step on the path. But let's talk about this main event, because goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen, this was insane. It was all over the place. The match began as a typical wrestling contest. Fox Marsh is a well-renowned Greco-Roman wrestler, and he used those skills to gain an early advantage. Executes a series of powerful grapples and slams, leaves Crimson momentarily stunned, but he is able to come back, known for that hardcore, brawling power style of his. That heavyweight comes back and just clocks Fox right underneath the jaw, which at that point, I swear, I thought the lights were on, but nobody was home. And it was that point that Crimson Wolf took advantage, charges at Fox, and clotheslines him over the top rope. Crimson goes out with him. Cactus Jack style, ladies and gentlemen. It was at that point things started going off the rails. The referee started counting, but they weren't listening. He got up to 7. He got up to 8. He got up to 9. Once he got to 9, he saw nobody was coming in. He counted to 10, but he didn't ring the bell. He said, at that point, the referee made an executive decision and decided, I'm going to give these guys 10 more seconds. And he just decided on the fly, we're going to make this a 20 count. So he keeps counting. He keeps going, 11, 12, 13, and these two are just going at it all across ringside, slamming each other up against the barricade, up against the apron, into the ring post, up against the steps. And at that point, the referee's about to just call it. These two aren't listening to me. This has gone out of control. We can't contain this anymore. And it was at that point, I thought we were done seeing him the rest of the night. I thought he was on his way to the hospital after that attack from Bobby Lashley. I'll be a son of a bitch. Ryan Klimaszewski is rolled out via wheelchair by whoever I guess his assistant was that night. And he's got a microphone in his hand, and he says, this is not how this night is going to end. We are not going to have our main event end in a countout. You two want to go all out, we're going to let you go all out. The rule book out the window. This is now no disqualification. And the roof blew off the arena. San Diego went wild. And you know what? So did Fox Marsh and Crimson Wolf, because at that point, Crimson unleashed his hardcore arsenal to its fullest extent. Fox Marsh comes running at him, but he hits that strong knife-edge chop of his that he calls pay for your sins right across Fox. And immediately the blood. He hit him so hard, the blood just immediately started coming from Fox's chest. It was lethal. But Fox was able to come back a few minutes later with a painkiller on the outside. He ripped up the mats off of the floor and hit a painkiller. It was brutal. And at that point, Crimson was busted open. The impact left him bleeding from the head. Both of these guys, they started using the weapons and the environment to their full advantage. It was almost shades of the Georgia street fight we saw earlier, just more vicious, more vile. These two came in with a vendetta against each other. They came in, it felt personal. We heard them say it several points. You heard Fox say it several points. This isn't about love. This is about proving a point and making a statement. And at that point, that's when the tide changed, and this became a personal grudge between these two to see who wanted it more. At this point in the match, both these guys are bleeding. Fox bleeding from the chest, bleeding from the head. Crimson Wolf is bleeding so badly from the head, but it's almost like both of these guys, they're seeing their own blood and they're thriving on it. At one point in this contest, Fox and Wolf are back in the ring and they're fighting up on the top rope. They're just throwing haymakers at each other back and forth and back and forth. Fox is set up on the part of the corner that's heading outside the ring. Crimson is still on the inside portion of the ring. He's able to slip down and crotch Fox on the top. And he uses that opportunity to climb back up. And he hooks in the Amen from the elevated position from the top to the ground, and Fox's head spiked into the mat with a force like I had never seen. I'll be honest, I thought he was dead. I thought he was dead. It was 2.9, but Fox was just barely able to lift that shoulder up. It was absolutely lethal, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely lethal. These two, they just kept going back and forth. Weapons and debris were just all over the place. They even had a table set up at ringside, and this is where that table came into effect, because now these two, they're going at it on the apron. They are throwing elbows, they're throwing haymakers, they're throwing headbutts, they're going all out, when all of a sudden Fox just channels this sixth sense, this hidden energy, and he just hoists Crimson up in a last-ditch effort and throws not only Fox, but not only Wolf, but himself. They both go flying off with the Uncanny Valley driver through the table on the outside. The roof blew off again. They just got it refastened. It just blew off again. When the smoke cleared, we saw the Crimson had yet another lethal gash on his back. The table debris cut him deep, and at this point, it wasn't looking good for the novelist of violence. He has 2 brutal gashes. He's now bleeding twice as much as he was before. And Fox saw this opportunity. He picked Wolf up, threw him back in the ring. Wolf is trying to pull himself back up, but as Fox climbs back into the ring, he grabs a hold of that gash and starts digging into it. It got really uncomfortable, ladies and gentlemen. It honestly did. I have never seen this kind of brutality and aggression from Fox Marsh, but something just snapped in him. And he's got Crimson there, and he pulls him up, and he's holding him by the head, looking in his eyes, and you could hear him screaming at Crimson Wolf, saying, "You should have listened to them. You should have heeded their warnings. Everything they told you, I am." And then he pulls Crimson up onto his shoulders and slams him down on that brutalized, bloody, cut open back with the bitter pill for the 1, 2, 3. Your winner, Fox Marsh. What a match from those two. What a match from these two guys who are established, who are known for going all out, and they left everything. That pristine white GRAPPLECON mat was changed to the color red at the end of the night. And I'll tell you what, they both gave each other something to remember from each other. And it was at that point the show went off the air. So now I guess that's the show. That's GRAPPLECON, ladies and gentlemen. Only question now is, what's next? What's next now that GRAPPLECON is in the past? Where does the VTW network go from here? I've thought about it a lot over the last week or so. I've been in deep consideration as to where this page goes, where this project goes. And sometimes you have to make a sacrifice. I'll elaborate more on that soon enough, ladies and gentlemen. But that's going to be me signing off for the night. Thank you to everyone for showing up to the San Diego GRAPPLECON. Thank you to everyone who participated. Thank you to everyone who watches this. I'll be seeing you guys next time with an update. And hopefully, we're not done yet.